Hey guys! Welcome to Whispers of Turkish Stars, where we follow the heartbeat of the industry with eyes and ears tuned to every whisper. All the details are in our video, and trust me, tonight's tea is as hot as it gets. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and share, because what I'm about to tell you has set the entire gossip world buzzing and you'll want to be the first to know. So, here's what's lighting up the backrooms and private chats. Akınözü has been opening up behind the scenes, and his quiet, careful words about Ebru are echoing like a promise. Friends in his inner circle say his voice softened, his smile spilled across his face, and he hinted that what they've been building is no longer just a romance, it's moving towards something official. The phrase that keeps coming up? That the path to marriage is closer than anyone thought. The moment that tone changed, the gossip gates burst open, and the rumor mill started to spin faster than ever. For those who have followed their story from the beginning, you'll remember the way it all started, a project they led together, long hours under the same lights, then the easy laughter that lingers when the director calls cut. What looked like pure on-screen chemistry slowly seeped into real life, and what began as a comfortable friendship grew into something richer, deeper, and unmistakably tender. Neither of them tried to rush their narrative. They gave their bond space to breathe, preferring measured words and meaningful silences over flashy headlines. Yet even when they said little, the world noticed everything, especially the way their eyes found each other in every room. These days, whispers from trusted sources say Akın has placed Ebru at the center of his long-term picture. Schedules that would send most people spinning somehow align when it's the two of them. Slivers of time become stolen breakfasts, quick walks on side streets, a shared glance between sets, late-night calls that end with lingering goodnights. And beneath those quiet rituals is the hum of planning, not for publicity, not for spectacle, but for a future. The detail that's inflamed speculation? In close conversations, he has started calling her his life partner, the person he'd choose again in every version of his life, no matter the script. Meanwhile, Ebru's approach hasn't changed, and that calm is part of the story. She doesn't reveal much when the cameras press in. She smiles, thanks the interviewer, and somehow says everything without giving a thing away. Yet people close to her say she carries a certainty that wasn't there at the start, a grounded kind of happiness. She's a woman who guards her private world, but the spark in her eyes when his name surfaces is impossible to hide. And whenever she's asked about love, her replies may be measured, but there's a soft warmth that slips through. She is balancing the momentum of an intense career with a private life that seems to be growing in its own steady, shining direction. If you're wondering whether this is all speculation, here's where the plot thickens. It's not just social media sleuthing. Sources say the families have already met quietly, respectfully, and with the kind of warmth that only happens when two worlds naturally fit. No red carpets, no staged dinners, no tip-offs to the press. Just real conversations, tea poured, laughter shared, and a gentle nod from both sides that says, "Yes, we see what you see." Add to that their discreet getaways, no loud declarations, no obvious photo ops, just time off the radar where the cameras won't follow, and the picture becomes clearer. Those trips have fans whispering about a surprise engagement, something that could arrive not with a grand announcement but with a soft, smiling reveal. What makes this development all the more dramatic is that Akın, until recently, stayed far from the marriage topic. He was laser-focused, on his craft, picking his roles carefully, showing up to set with the quiet discipline of a leading man who knows what he's doing. But the language he's using now, according to his inner circle, has shifted in a way that even the skeptical can feel. His comments have that unmistakable ring. This time, it's not light talk. It's not a throwaway line with a wink. It's a steady, rounded certainty. It's the look of someone who knows the turning point has already arrived, and the rest is just about timing. And the audience? You've never seen this kind of wholehearted support. Along the timelines and in the comments, fans echo the same sentiments again and again. They call them the most harmonious pair of the year. They write that if any love deserves a fairy tale ending, it's theirs. They say the story that began under hot studio lights deserves to be sealed under the sky, in front of the people who've cheered for them since the first scene. It's rare to see fandoms so united, so genuinely happy for what seems to be unfolding, no drama between the lines, no fractures. Just pure excitement, like everyone's been waiting for a page to turn and can finally hear the paper rustling. Here's where the current wave of chatter crested. Akın's recent reflections, shared quietly among friends but leaked like anything meaningful tends to, are being read as the beginning of a new chapter. Those who know him well say he rarely speaks without weighing his words, especially about matters of the heart. Which is why, when he hinted that marriage wasn't a distant star but something almost within reach, people sat up and listened. This relationship has been a slow, patient climb, guided more by instinct than by spectacle, and now the summit seems close enough to touch. If you trace their trajectory back to those first days on set, you'll remember how obvious their connection was, even in the earliest interviews. We saw a kind of ease you can't rehearse. They shared small stories, jokes that only make sense to people who spend long hours together, a trust that built itself without asking for attention. Fans felt it. Crews felt it. And when the cameras stopped rolling, that same rhythm continued, as if the scenes that mattered most weren't scripted at all. Their dynamic seemed so natural, so unforced, that people who'd watched dozens of pairings by now could tell this one wasn't like the rest. They tried to dodge the glare, to keep their foundation away from the noise. But no matter how carefully they stepped, traces of their closeness slipped through, the way they stood near each other at an event, the way one lingered while the other spoke, the way a conversation seemed to continue even after the microphones were switched off. Those glimpses, here and there, told the story that words wouldn't. Seriousness doesn't always announce itself with statements. Sometimes it enters a room and simply makes everything quieter. Then came the confessions, not to the world but to the very few who would understand their weight. According to those who've been within earshot, Akın has begun to speak about Ebru not only as the woman he loves, but as the person with whom he wants to build everything that comes after the last scene, the last curtain call. His friends say his voice changes when he mentions her, as if the space around him softens. He's said that lately, everything in his life seems to be taking shape, finally aligning, and everyone listening knew exactly what he meant without needing him to explain. Of course, in our corner of the world, words like that don't arrive without a wave. The gossip sphere has taken those quiet declarations and held them up to the light, asking all the right questions. Is the proposal already planned? Is the ring hidden where no lens can see it? Are they choosing a moment that belongs only to them before the world gets to share in it? The conversation isn't just about romance anymore, it's about design, intention, the map they're drawing for the life they're ready to build. People close to the couple say this is a pivotal stretch, the kind of period that decides how the next years will look. And there's one phrase that keeps emerging from the retellings of those inner circle talks. When he describes Ebru, Akın has been known to call her the person who gave meaning to everything in his life. Not a piece, not a chapter, everything. He's told friends he struggles to picture a future that doesn't include her, and that kind of certainty is like a bell ringing through the corridors of every rumor network in the city. It's the kind of line that turns a quiet romance into a story everyone wants to stand and witness. As for Ebru, nothing rattles her. The calm stays. She keeps her gaze on the work, celebrates the wins, learns from the misses, and protects the places where she and he can just be themselves. But if you're looking carefully, you can see the signs, the way she rearranges her schedule to catch up with him between long shoots, the way she quietly supports his choices, the way he shows up for her, not with grand gestures but with the day-to-day acts that turn love from a spark into a steady flame. They've held each other through pressure and praise, late nights and early flights, the strain of being seen by everyone and the relief of days when they can slip away. Together, they've built something that looks like a home before the house is even chosen. And that, perhaps, is the point where speculation becomes something warmer. Not a rumor for rumor's sake, but a story with roots. When families have already shared time, when friends repeat, with a knowing smile, that this is different, when even the most reserved voices start speaking about rings and vows without irony, that's when you know a new phase is coming. Whether it arrives with a private promise kept between two people in their closest circle, or with photos that capture a moment we'll talk about for years, we can feel it, the shift has happened. The rest is timing. One more thing before we go. Fans are holding on to a few lines they've picked up along the way, resharing them, celebrating them, then sending blessings into the digital air. They call Akın and Ebru the couple whose energies match like joined hands. They say, let this love find its forever. And while none of us can predict exactly how or when, sometimes the quietest confirmations are the ones that matter most. If this is indeed the chapter we think it is, we're standing right at the edge of the page, about to turn it together. This brings us to the end of our video for tonight. If you felt that pulse, if you've been rooting for them from the start, make sure you subscribe to Whispers of Turkish Stars and share this with the friend who sends you every little clue. We'll be watching, listening, and returning with the truth the moment it steps into the light. Until then, keep your hearts open and your notifications on. Goodbye.